Like, which one do I get rid of?
You can't get rid of any of them.
No,
They go in a memory box.
I have 4 of them on my shelf.
Or they go in your shelf.
Well, they're in Calgary, so it's okay.
Oh, well, you're going to have to move them here.
I don't think they'd fit on my bookshelf at this point.
Buy more bookshelves.
You tell my partner that one.
Oh, I will
say no.
I'll go to bat for you on that one.
I don't even know where I would put another bookshelf. Like, my house is not big enough for more shelves, but I would make it work.
Oh, yeah.
I will put books
That's what
everywhere.
it's all
about. Hey, I'm Les.
And I'm Ree. This is Not That Kind of Book Club,
a bookish podcast where we read it so you don't have to.
We are brand new to podcasting. This is episode number 1, so take it a little easy on us. And we're here literally just talking to you, 2 friends, about books.
This is a no judgment zone. No drama llamas, please.
We're just here to talk about all of our favorite books, all your favorite books, and really just get more people hopefully into reading.
Yes, it's all about building that book community and finding those people to talk all of the books with, because there's some interesting conversations to be had.
That's to say the least about books. I mean, I read pretty much everything. I'm getting ahead of myself, of course. Again, Les, I'm Ree. We are just 2 friends who met. We had this incredible opportunity be provided to us, and we had to jump on it. We had to jump on it and do this. Both of us are big book fans. I feel like it was meeting number 2 that we realized how much we both love books and just ran with it.
I mean, by meeting number 3, we decided we were going to be best friends. So
here we are to share books with you. We're starting this, which I think we already covered, is just because we want to keep building a book community. We saw an opening and we're running with it. So as we go through this, let us know what you kind of want to see, what you want to hear. We're going to do the best we can to just keep bringing good content and everything that we find entertaining in the book world. But we would love whoever's out there listening to join in as well.
And I'm not going to lie, we have some pretty cool things coming your way, but we're always open to suggestions and how we can make this awesome.
But nice suggestions, because I will cry.
Yes, please be kind.
Like we said, no drama llamas.
Well, exactly, right? This is supposed to be fun, guys.
Exactly. We're not doing this because we're forced to or anything. This is a fun passion project that we're doing because we just genuinely love to read. I mean, you're seeing a couple books we both have up here throughout the little studio, and this is just a small sample. At some point, I think we're going to have to do home book tours so everyone can see just what our home libraries look like, because it's a lot.
Yeah, that's an understatement. It's interesting. I feel like we're going to have to do the whole, how many books do you have in your library?
Oh, that's a really personal question. You want to know my number?
Yeah, I do. I want to know that number.
Well, I'm going to have to go home and count first.
Ugh. Suspense. That's rude.
I know. We'll save that for episode 2. We'll
Awesome.
save it for episode 2. So, real basic, Les, how did you get into reading?
Oh gosh. Okay, bear with me. This one's a little bit of a long story. But let me start with, I fucking hated reading. It sucked. Growing up, I hated it. I was that kid who forged my parents' signature on that reading log just so I could win the bookmarks and hit my 160 hours of reading to collect all these Calgary Flames bookmarks.
Calgary Flames
I'm
bookmarks.
not gonna lie.
Not even a pizza party.
No, I had a Jerome Iginla bookmark that I was so proud of. But it was you had to get to the very end to get that one. So it was goals.
Do you still have it?
I wish. Let's be real. I'm pretty sure my mom threw it out.
Of course, as they're getting rid of all your stuff.
I was probably obsessed with it for 5 minutes, and then I was like, who likes hockey anyways? So, back to that. I hated reading, and my dad absolutely loved reading. He was that human that he could pick up a book and read the entire thing, fastest reader I know.
Mm-hmm.
And So yeah, we're polar opposites at this point. And when my dad died, I feel like I kind of found a connection to books, and like it kind of connected me to my dad. So for reference, we went to Hawaii a couple months after he had passed, and my mom came across this used bookstore, and she's like, "Oh, like let's go in." And
Mm-hmm.
me being me, I'm like, "Ugh, okay." So I'm looking at books. I'm like, "Oh, this one like sounds pretty good." And I read an entire book on the beach. And I asked my mom, I was like, "Kate, like, can we go back to that bookstore?" And then all of a sudden, I read 4 books in Hawaii. And then the next year, I read 35 books for a year. And then it was 100, and then 130, and this year's going to be 150. So I
Ooh.
honestly feel like it's my dad that kind of got me into reading, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like my connection to him. So, long story short, my dad got me into reading, but yeah,
In that
sorry.
cool, long, roundabout kind of way. That's actually really special to kind of have that connection. And I mean, it's
Yeah,
been, what, like 9 years since your dad, 8, 9 years since your dad had
it'll
passed?
be 8 years at the end of May.
Okay, and like a really beautiful way to kind of still feel close to him and keep his spirit alive for
Right?
you.
I don't know. And like, it might sound like a sad story, but honestly, like for me, it's kind of a happy story too, because it's, you get to keep that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they're gone, like, you read a book and you're like, man, my dad would love this book. Or my dad would be making fun of me right now because he'd be like, you always bitched about reading, and now you're hosting a podcast and you read books for a living at this point. But yeah, how about you, Ree?
Ooh.
What got you into reading?
So, growing up, I kind of went through phases where I had a lot of friends and then I was kind of a loner, but it all started with me being a little bit, I'm pretty weird. Like, full stop, I'm pretty weird. So, I go through phases of just being very introverted, a little bit extroverted, and books were always something that were there for me. They were like friends essentially, which sounds so sad to admit out
I was
loud, but
gonna say,
but they are though, they're
yeah.
a great escape. You have all these different genres that you can read and all of a sudden you have tons of friends through different worlds. So for me growing up, reading was a way for me to escape, to get into things, which is a really cool thing too. So you build these like little worlds and you get to be a part of it for a little while. You don't have to think
Honestly,
about what's going on the outside that door.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like that resonates with me too in a way,
Mm-hmm.
because when you're having a bad day or when something happens, sometimes just crawling into your bed and reading a book just kind of makes everything feel a little bit better. And like, you're able to shut off your brain, you're able to read a book and be like, oh my God, these people are more messed up than I am.
Yes.
But I'm not messed up, I swear. I'm just a little bit weird like Ree. It's probably why we are very similar humans.
Get along so
But
well.
I don't know, like I have difficulties sometimes imagining or like picturing what a world will look like. And like when you read a fantasy book, when you're reading it, can you see it? Like can you be like, "Oh, I imagine that this is what it looks like."
Yes, I build it in my brain.
See, I do not have that ability. And so I'll read things. I'm like, wait, what is this? Like, where are we? I'm confused.
Mm.
So I'm that person that has to like constantly flip to a map and be like, oh, okay, I got it. But like some books, I can't read. And I know my partner the other day actually asked me, he's like, well, when you read a smut book, do you like picture the man or like picture the
Mm-hmm.
people? And I was like, no. He's like, well, then how do you read it? I was like, no, they're just people in a book. Like, I don't picture them. I just read about them.
Okay, I feel like smut books are the best that set things up so you can actually picture what's going on because you always have the author saying, "Oh, look at how engorged he is." And you're like, "Yep, I can picture that." His
Seriously.
rippling sinewy muscle in his legs and you're like, "Yeah, I can see that happening."
See, it's wild the terminology that authors will use
I
for things.
know.
And I'm just like, honestly, like, what is this? Walk around this. Just say, like, dude, we hooked up, or like any of that. Don't give me fake names for things. Like,
Some
uh,
of them are pretty
or
outrageous, I
like the
will
tickle my
say.
pickle, and you're like, no, just say
No.
like what it is.
Yep. Yep. what you're doing
But
to them.
I don't know how we got here.
I don't know either.
We were talking about how we got into reading.
Now we're talking about
tickling a pickle.
But yeah, so even still to this day, like I think my therapist thinks it's a good thing. Like reading is a good escape.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously don't do it all the time. If she is watching this, I don't read to escape all the time, just sometimes. But it is an easy thing to do. Like I bring a book with me if I'm going to an appointment and I know I'm going to have to wait. If I'm not sitting in traffic, but I'll listen to audiobooks then. If I'm at work and I have a bit of a break, I'll open up a book. It's just there's so many opportunities where instead of, grabbing my phone and scrolling through it, I just pick up a book. But I think what people don't understand with reading either, because I have talked to so many people who say, oh, I haven't read since high school. And in my brain, right away, I go judgy. And I'm like, well, you're illiterate as fuck if you haven't read a book since high school. So sorry for everybody who isn't reading.
Sorry, if the last book you read is Catcher in the Rye, like, you need to educate yourself on the smut world or, like, fantasy worlds. Like, not Catcher in the Rye. Like, of course you don't want to read after that.
There's so much out there. There is literally a book for everyone out there. And it's a muscle that you have to work on and you have to build, just like you would go to the gym to build bigger like body muscles. You have to sit and read and practice to be able to build a reading muscle as well.
And I think too that like people, when they read, you're able to kind of, oh my gosh, my voice is cracking.
Some coffee.
Sorry. But I think that when people read, it kind of increases the speed you're able to read at because, like you said, it's building that muscle. And I don't know what I can call it, like your reading muscle or whatever you want to call it. But realistically, like eventually you're able to actually read faster. I know that I also listen to audiobooks. I mean, driving to Calgary for 6.5 hours there and 6.5 hours back, you can probably blow through like 2 books. Unless you're reading a fantasy novel that is 550 pages long.
15-hour book to listen to.
Yeah, but even there, like my speed of listening has gotten higher. So like I cannot listen to a book at 1 point speed. Like it hurts my soul. So normally it's like a 1.3 to a 1.5, but I also know people who listen to it at like 2.25 and I'm like, hey, that's gibberish. I have no idea how you do that.
That's a lot of processing in your brain.
It builds your processing speed and like in your brain and like cognitively, like I think it is important to like keep your brain kind of processing like that because again, it's that muscle and a lot of us have slower processing speed because of kind of what's going on in the world. And we are very addicted to social media and we don't read and we don't go outside. We don't do these things. Like the world has changed. The world has changed drastically in the last little while. So yeah, again, how did we get here?
I know. I do think the world is going back into reading more and more and more though. Like there is, I don't want to call it trendy to be a well-read person, but at the same time, it seems like more people are getting into actually getting books and reading them again.
Well, and then you also have the people, unfortunately, I'm not calling myself out here, but I am also calling myself out here, that buy books because they're pretty. And like,
hang on. Before we even go further with this, everybody needs to know that buying books, having books, and reading books are 3 separate hobbies. So you might be reading something, but then you have a separate hobby of acquiring all your books as well as having all your books. So don't sit and feel bad that you have a bookshelf full of books you're not willing to read because you just have the hobby of building a bookshelf. And maybe you like to go shop for your books and then you'll find one every so often that you're going to read.
Well, and honestly, like if I read something on my Kindle and I'm like, man, like that book was so good. Am I going to order it? Most likely. Am I ever going to crack it open? Probably not, but it's a souvenir or a trophy that like I loved that book. And then also like if you go to any book signings or you go to any of those things and authors sign your book, I am not cracking that book open. It is sitting on my shelf because now this is like a valued possession. But I have also learned that I should stop getting them to write my name in them because then if I ever choose to like get rid of a book Well, it has my name in it, so now I can't get rid of it because I could, but like I'm not going to.
Okay, but one of my favorite things when I am shopping at thrift stores or used bookstores is when I find a book and I open it up and there's a personalized inscription in there to
Yeah.
someone, and you're like, this book had so much love in it. And like, who else has read it? Where has this come from? Who gave it to you? What was the, anniversary, or what was the occasion that you gave this book to someone? And then it
Yeah.
ends up on my shelf, and it's so cool. And it makes me think about books that I've lost along my journey, that I've had written, signed for me, or I've written my name in. And where the fuck in the world are those books? So if you find one ever through the world, like, let me know where it ended up.
If it just says Rihanna and you're like, yeah, that is totally me. There's no one else in this world called Rihanna.
Not spelt this way.
Not spelled that way. But I don't know, like I also find it really cool. I find it a lot more with like kids books.
Mm-hmm.
And like you'll find it and you'll open it and it's like has the date and it's like happy birthday
Yes.
to my sweet granddaughter, love grandma and grandpa. And you're just like, "Oh my god, like that's so kind and I love it.
Yeah.
It's so cute." But
How
then
many times was this read to you at night?
yeah, and then I mean, I don't know about you, but when I graduated grade 12, I think I got 5 copies of The Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss.
Yes, classic
And
book.
I can't get rid of any of them because they're all personalized by different people. And of course, they all wrote in the book. And I was like, man, like, this one's from my teacher. This one's from my parents. This one's from my aunt and uncle, my mom's best friend. Like, which one do I get rid of?
You can't get rid of any of them.
No,
They
so
go in a memory box.
I have 4 of them on my shelf.
Or they go in your shelf.
Well, they're in Calgary, so it's okay.
Ah, well, you're gonna have to move them here.
I don't think they'd fit on my bookshelf at this point.
Buy more bookshelves.
You tell my partner that one.
Oh,
He
I
will
will.
say no.
I'll go to bat for you on that one.
I don't even know where I would put another bookshelf. Like, my house is not big enough for more shelves, but I would make it work.
Oh yeah,
I will put books
that's what it's all
everywhere.
about.
Like,
Just making it work.
I keep joking that my office is probably the most expensive room in my house because I have like 600 books in there. And a lot of them are like exclusive editions or sprayed edges or signed copies. So, like,
Oh,
do
that's
not burn my house down. I will cry. I cannot take 600 books out of my house if it's on fire. Like, when somebody asks you, what would you grab if your house was on fire? Like, I would have to go and, like, grab, like, the most important books to me, and then I'd forget everything else. So, like, that's not great, but
This just makes me think I have all of my books in our living room, and there's a big picture window there, and if there was a fire, I would probably
Out the
knock
window.
the window and just start throwing books on my front lawn to get them out of the fire.
yeah. As your partner's running around trying to grab passports and social insurance
Wallets.
cards.
Make sure the dog, well, I would obviously make sure the dogs are okay, but yeah, I would just be chucking books on my front lawn
Yeah.
because I am not losing those again.
I feel like this is a conversation I'm going to have with him at home and be like, Kate, you're responsible for all of the important documents,
Yep.
and I will be throwing my books out the window from the second floor and hope to God that they don't get too destroyed. Or maybe I'll throw the mattress out first and then throw my books on the mattress.
Yeah, like put like a sheet down or something and then just start.
Could you imagine? Oh, no, you take a sheet and you like throw all the books in it and you tie it up like those in
Like
like
a
the cartoons
bag,
where you put a
yeah.
stick and you throw it over your shoulder. Like all I can think of is like Winnie the Pooh, but like
Yes.
I wouldn't even be able to carry that.
No,
Like, I'd be
not
dragging
600 books.
I'd be dragging this like sheet full of books across this like
As
the lawn. as my
fire is
house-
getting closer and closer to you,
Oh
and
my
you're just sitting there
gosh.
dragging them all.
Yeah, see now you have me thinking. I'm like, do I move some books into the corner as like these are the ones I would take in a fire?
Oh, but you don't want to put that out there either.
No, I don't want my house to burn down.
No, I would also prefer your house not to burn down.
Yeah. I mean, the fire hydrant is right on the corner, so like
Ooh,
that's pretty
convenient.
helpful.
That's very convenient.
Yeah. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That was a good talk. I mean,
That was, now
mean,
I have
now-
an escape plan of what I'm going to do for my books. I
Yeah.
had never thought about this before, and as somebody who spirals quite often, I can't believe that I didn't think about my books before, but now I have a game plan for
Do you know
them.
how long we're going to be talking about this now? We're just going to have text conversations about, okay, what are we going to bring? Like, what things are we actually taking out of our house if it's on fire?
Exactly. I'm gonna have to inform my partner now that this is the game plan.
Yeah, like
Like, honey, you take care of all that. I have to take care of the
we're going to have
books.
to sit down and write an emergency action plan and be like, this is our roles. This is what's happening. But like, you also have to be careful because if I throw the cat outside, he's just going to leave.
Put an air tag on him.
He doesn't even have a collar on right now. He lost his collar. You think that he's not going to lose an air tag? My
Yeah,
cat's
that's
not that
fair.
smart.
Yeah, you almost, not like a microchip type thing, but you almost want them to just like
Yeah.
swallow one.
He is chipped, so
Okay, well
that's
then
helpful.
he'll be fine. It'll be fine. You throw the cat out, then you throw the books out. And so this is a good opportunity for everybody else. Think about your emergency action plan of what you're going to do with your books if you were to have a fire at your house. Are they in a place where you can easily grab them, like your favorite ones? Or are they in a rough spot? Or do you need to move them somewhere close to a window so you can also action plan and just like break the window and throw them outside?
I'm gonna ask this again. How did we get to emergency action plans for saving our books?
I don't know, but now we're here and I have really, really just dug into this. I'm going to be thinking about it all day.
I'm very invested in this conversation now.
Oh my gosh. Pivot though. Pivot. How many
Pivot!
books do you
Sorry.
read at a time?
How many books do I read at a time?
Yeah. Are you a one book at a time person or do you have multiples on the go? Because I know how I answer this question, but I like to hear what other people.
Are you gonna judge my answer?
No, no judgment here.
I usually have like 3 or 4. Because you have to have one on your Kindle.
Yep.
You have to have one on Audible.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have one on your phone in case you forget your Kindle somewhere.
Yes.
And then naturally, like, you have to have a book that you're actually going to crack the spine and read.
Yes.
Do you agree? Are you the same?
I'm the same.
Girl,
I have my audiobook right now. I've got my Kindle here. I've got some books I'm reading. And then, of course, I've got my like Kindle on my phone because you don't want to get caught somewhere and not have a book to read.
see, and it's like, if I forget my Kindle, I have my phone. If I magically forget my phone, which that's a little hard to do anymore.
Not in today's day and age.
Yeah, then I would have my actual book. Usually I have one in my car, and I know
Mhm.
that sounds weird, but emergency action plan, I've got to read.
Yes. That makes me feel like I need to put a book in my car too. So I guess
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing later
I
today.
mean, let's be real. If I forget my phone, then I also can't listen to my audiobook. So, like, that's like 3 out of 4 options are gone. So, you got to put a book in your car.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to put it in my, like, under my seat in that little bin that pulls out.
Yep.
No one will know I
Yep.
have books in my car.
Well, I mean, are you embarrassed to have books in your car? Is
No,
this
not
like
really.
a dirty little secret?
I mean, if I'm being honest, there's probably always 2 boxes of books in the back of my car. And like, this makes me sound crazy. I'm not crazy. But, you know, I run a little business and I need used books. And when I get
Mhm.
books and some of them can't really use, they go in a box. And then you go to Value Village, you get your 20% off coupon and you buy some new books. Or you go to fill your basket for $7 at the thrift store and you drop off books at the same time. So you're like, hey, I donated back to the community. Now I'm going to let the community donate to me.
That's the best way to do it. If you have not gotten into thrifting books, whether it's at secondhand stores, it's at, your local little bookstores, it's at Value Village, Mission Thrift, what have you, you are missing out because people donate brand new books all the time and they are in such good condition.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put a pin in this conversation because
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll talk about it next episode more about like where to go even in Saskatoon and
Mm-hmm.
finding books and things like that because that honestly could be an entire episode.
Yes. And just like the best ways to do it.
Oh,
So
100%.
okay.
100%.
So you read many books at a time. What is your goal this year for how many books you want to read for 2025?
Okay, so I set it for 150. And you know when you're on either like what is it? There's Goodreads and is it Storygraph or I have another one on my phone, but I was so on top of it and it was like kind of encouraging because they're like, great pace, you're on track for your goal. And then I had a little bit of kind of like a, what's it called? Like a slump.
Yeah.
And I didn't pick up a book for, I don't know, like 2, 3 weeks, which doesn't sound like very long. And then you go back on Goodreads and it's like, you're falling behind. You have 6 more books to catch up. And you're like, oh my God, now you're making me feel guilty for not reading. Like, I feel like I'm a child and I didn't do my homework and now I'm behind and I'm about to fail a test. And man, Goodreads is really mean sometimes.
Okay, I'm in the spot where Goodreads is being mean to me. I think I'm 9 books behind currently. I'm trying to read 150 this year, and
Same.
I want to say I'm at 46, maybe.
Okay, now I'm gonna
You're gonna
check.
look it up?
I gotta check
we've
what I'm
got to know
at.
where you're at.
Yeah,
But
it is Storygraph. Where am I? Let's see.
Come on, Goodreads. And if you guys are on Goodreads and you are good with technology, I would love to find you. Find me. I think my username is just Anna. And I would love to see what you're reading because it's always a good way to find new books is just to see what everybody else is reading.
I mean, honestly, I have no idea what my username is, but
If you find me, you can
you'll
find
find
her.
me. Okay, what do you think I'm at?
Out of 150, you've
Yeah.
got to be close. I would say you're probably between 50 and 60.
Okay, you're pretty dead on.
Yeah.
I'm at 53.
Ooh, okay. So
53.
for schedule-wise, what does Goodreads say?
Press on. Read 4 books to get back on track.
Ah, okay.
So I'm still behind.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. I stayed up till 4 last night reading a book because I couldn't sleep. And I was like, oh, it's going to catch me up on Goodreads? Nope.
No,
I
still
got
behind.
4.
Still behind.
Still behind.
Okay, well, what are you reading right now then?
Oh gosh, what am I reading right now? I am reading Wicked Games by S. Mastery.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, it is not what I expected. I kind of expected some standalones. And then,
Mhm.
of course, last night at 4 in the morning, I finished the first book and left me on a little bit of a cliffhanger. So, of course, do I go to bed once I
No.
finish it? No, I had to read like the first 3 chapters. And then I was like, okay, like, should probably actually force yourself to sleep now.
Naturally.
But I'm gonna
You've got
pull
some
up my
good quotes.
Audible because I want to tell you what I'm listening to as well.
Ooh, yes, please.
I am listening to My So-Called Love Life by Lauren Blakely.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, for once it's not a dark romance.
Give us a little synopsis. What's this about?
Okay, I'm not that far into it, so
That's okay.
let's be real. I don't know a ton, so let me just read you some of the stuff on here.
Yeah,
I mean,
please.
it is a delicious romantic comedy with Sebastian York and Vanessa Edwin. Guys, if you haven't listened to Sebastian York, he's a great, great voice actor.
Ooh.
There's
we love a
some
good
really
voice.
good voice actors out there.
Mhm.
That's another episode we can talk about.
Yep.
Like the best authors, the best audio authors. They're not
Mhm.
audio authors. They're audio or voice actors.
Voice actors.
See, I know some things, but I stumble on words.
That's all good.
But yeah, this one's good. And then my Wicked Games is kind of like a dark hockey romance. But then it's also not a hockey romance. Like, he plays hockey, but it's kind of in like the background. So like, I don't know why they call it a hockey romance. It's more of like a, I don't know, it's like a revenge book. And I did
Ooh.
not expect that. So
I kind of like that where you just grab a book and you don't necessarily look and see what it's about and you just start reading and it's like, oh shit, how did we get here and how did I pick
Right?
this up?
well, and it's like I have a book back here that I had it on my wish list on Amazon, and I will admit, I think I put it in there because the cover looked really fun.
Yes.
And then when I got it, I read the like foreword in the book, and it's going on, and it's like, this is a slasher romance. I was like, oh my God, what is a slasher romance? And then it says, it ends on a happily ever after for 2 characters,
Yeah.
but you won't know which 2 until you read it. And I was like, oh my God, like,
Well, if it's a slasher, people are dying.
but like, I don't like horror movies or scary movies. These like actually terrify me.
Yeah.
So now I don't know how I'm gonna read a slasher romance. So I might be passing that off to you to read, and then you can tell me if it's scary, and then I'll read it.
I also hate horror, but sometimes I can get away with thriller, so I'll read that for you. I can do
Awesome.
that.
Great.
We'll add it to my TBR pile, but
Just add it over. I'll just put it on your shelf instead.
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. What are you
brought-
reading right now?
Yeah, I brought a few of them. Of course, I have my paper copy of books. We've got our Kindle, the new Anna
Huang?
book. Yeah, King of Envy just came out, so we've got that going on the Kindle. I've been listening to an audiobook called The Tell by Amy Griffin. It's a memoir. It is about sexual assault. It's actually really fascinating, and she didn't remember it happening to her until she was in, I think, her 40s. She does a psychedelic drug trip, like assisted, and then the memories come back to her. So it's just so fascinating. And of course, because everything in my life likes to have a theme, one of the other books I'm reading is called Remember by Lisa Genova. So it's the science of memory and the art of forgetting. She's a neuroscientist. So this is all about just how we store memories, how they can be kept, how we recall memories. It's really, really fascinating. So it's kind of cool that those two wrap a little bit together. I've got a poetry book on the go. I hope you remember Josie Balka. This just came out recently.
I did see that. I
Yes.
need to get a copy of this as well.
Okay, she is a radio DJ in Calgary who does her little poems on the internet in her closet. It's so cute. Josie, if you ever come across this podcast, we would love to have you on here to talk about your book. Canadian content, always, always super awesome. But it's just so lovely. I'm not very far in, but I'm enjoying it. And I just love a good poetry book.
Yeah. I'm going to say one thing because I think
Yeah.
it's funny. You can tell that you're from Saskatchewan because you said Calgary. It is Calgary.
Just 2 syllables. Calgary.
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 Not Calgary.
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 There you go.
Okay.
You learned something new.
Yeah. And then the last one, another memoir. I apparently am not reading any romance right now besides King of Envy, is The Many Lives of Mama Love, which I'm in a book club.
I'm in this book club as
You are in the
well.
book club, and this is the one we're reading right now.
So I forgot to mention, I'm also reading this book. It's also on my currently reading list.
Yes.
But
yay.
okay, I got to tell you about 2 books that I just read.
Yes, please.
So don't
Tell
laugh
me.
at me, but this is a prime example of I read this book. I loved this book. I
Mhm.
ordered this book. It was supposed to be here yesterday so that I could show you this book.
Yeah.
Did it show up?
No.
No. Amazon's also taken a break for the weekend, so whatever.
Usually
but
they ship on weekends, though.
yeah, I know. And I even used my partner's Prime for this one. But you know, it's fine. I guess I'll forgive Amazon. But okay, so it's called Colty by Mariana Zapata or Zapata? Zapata. Zapata sounds right.
Yep.
And if you know me, I love soccer. And this is a soccer book, but it's a romantic book, but not a romantic book. And sometimes I find slow burns are not for me. However, this story was so good because it kind of focused more on developing the characters, and it didn't happen in 5 minutes. Like, you don't read the book and in 5 minutes they're like, oh my God, I love you, right? It's between a player and a coach, and the coach used to be a professional soccer player,
Yeah.
and he is super grouchy and like kind of miserable, if I'm being honest. And she is this up and coming soccer star.
Yep.
And she's going places, and they both know that they can't be anything because that was one of the rules at the beginning of the season. So it kind of goes through the entire season, training, how they kind of form this friendship. And like the undertone is there of like, yeah, they like each other. Oh yeah, like it's going. And eventually, actually, he has to step back as coach so that she can play in the finals. And it was after the final game.
Yeah.
And this is like the not last chapter, but it's like the third last chapter. And they lose their game and they finally kiss and they're finally like, oh my God, I love you. But it was one of those stories that I truly enjoyed because you actually built a character and you actually, as a reader, understood the character, which I find sometimes doesn't actually exist anymore in a lot of books. And like I said, you hop in and you're like, oh my gosh, like we're in grade 12, which is also really hard to read as somebody who is not in grade 12.
Yes.
And they're in love. This is their first like romance that my boyfriend is the best and I'm going to be with him forever and we're going to get married. So I think it was a good change of pace that this was actually like a good developing story. And then second book, I gotta talk about it. It has some hilarious quotes, but this one was like a dark football romance.
Yeah.
And it's the second in a series. It's by C.R. James. I did not bring it. I forgot to bring it.
That's okay.
But it was also really good, and it kind of built on a character that was in the first book.
Mhm.
And yes, they're kind of crazy bananas, and like, let's be real, he's a little bit of a stalker. He like slept under her bed, and like it was so weird. And you're reading this, and you're like, oh my God, like, do people actually do this? Like,
And they ended up together.
yeah, at the end of the book, they ended up together.
Gosh. After he
But
sleeps under her
he
bed.
sleeps under her bed, but then like he stays under her bed and like waits for her to leave the next morning. And I was like, what was the purpose of you sleeping on the floor under her bed? Like, not that I'm saying I wanted him to like wake up and like crawl into bed with her. No, but like, why did you even do that?
Bottom
But
bunk.
yeah, okay, I gotta read you these though. So this book kind of had like a lot of humor undertone,
Mm-hmm.
and like certain things you would read and you're like, oh my God, like who comes up with these things? So I won't read anything that's like super bananas, but I gotta read you this.
Yes.
So this is why I didn't want to tell you anything. You'll get so dramatic, just like a drama llama. So I am now using the term drama llama a
Yes.
lot because I think it's hilarious and I love it. And then listen
hang on.
to this one.
Put on your audiobook author voice when you're doing this.
Oh God.
Do it.
Here
we go. Here we go.
It's not going to be very good.
Oh, yes, it will.
Okay. I don't even know how I would make this sound. But yeah, and then she just tilts her head and goes. It's fascinating how marrow keeps us alive, isn't it? Like she's personally tested the theory as she drinks her iced fucking milk. I can't be an audio voice recorder, but like,
that was not bad.
oh, it wasn't
Don't be
good,
so hard on
though.
yourself.
Who also drinks milk with ice in it?
I don't know. That's pretty weird.
No, that's like true-blooded
Ugh.
psychopath.
Watered down milk?
Gross.
No.
And then Kay, I'll end off on like a joke
Okay.
because I think it's hilarious. And I think I've told everybody this joke. Like every person I know now knows this joke.
Mm-hmm.
But what has two butts and kills people?
What?
An assassin.
Ha.
You get it? Assassin.
It is pretty good. You did tell me this one already, but
It's a great
good.
one. So, guys, please tell everybody this joke and think of me when you do it because I think it's hilarious. But,
oh my gosh.
Ree, what book have you read that you just finished? Or have you.
Ooh. Okay, so how do I make this sound nice? All right.
Oh, God.
I just like to pick books quite randomly, and I don't read the synopsis or anything. I just read. This was the case with an audiobook I decided to pick up, listen to, and read, which we'll get into this on another episode. Audiobooks are books. They count.
Oh, I agree entirely.
Absolutely. So David Chang, founder of Momofuku Restaurants, wrote a memoir. And I just like listening to books about food because food is life. Food is delicious. And who doesn't want to be driving home at the end of the day listening to what they put in their risotto and how they shave down pieces of carrots or truffle to put on top of it? It's amazing. But I started listening to this book, and all of a sudden he starts talking about, and then I realized I was depressed and I had just had a manic high, and talking about how he has bipolar disorder. And as somebody who also suffers from, well, I don't suffer, everybody around me suffers, but has some mental health issues, I don't know how, but I keep managing to find books that mirror my experience in life. So I do have bipolar disorder, and to have this book just randomly open up about his experience, I'm like, okay, maybe I gravitated towards this one for a second. But it's called Eat a Peach. It's really fascinating. He weaves in all of his different business ventures through his mental health journey, through fatherhood, through growing up as a young Korean American boy. It's really fascinating.
That does sound pretty good actually.
Yeah, not really what I was expecting when I started it at all. I'm like, ooh, another food book. I can't wait to hear about what he's cooking. And all of a
I don't
sudden,
know how you listen to food books. I'd be like salivating driving home
oh,
that I'm so hungry.
I do. I definitely do, but I kind of love it. I
I love
kind of love it.
this.
It gets my appetite going
Oh
before I
my
have to go
gosh.
home and get my
But then you
appetite
actually
going.
have to go home and cook.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, that's a lot of work.
We're
But like, I will cook, it's fine.
yeah.
But one thing I do want to say, like, I love the fact that we read so many different things.
Hmm.
Like, I'm not necessarily a nonfic person or
Yep.
someone who reads memoirs. It's not even that I don't like them, but I do. But sometimes when I read something that kind of resonates too closely to me,
Hmm.
it's a little bit triggering sometimes. Like you said, like I also have some mental health and
Hmm.
I have PTSD. So for me to read certain things, I'm like, no, like I can't. This is going to send me into a downward spiral. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to do that. And it's the same with like listening to music. There are some songs I'm like, next, I can't listen to,
Yep.
right? And um I just love the fact that you read a lot of nonfic, but you also read fiction and you'll
Oh
read kind of
yeah.
anything. Whereas you look at my stuff and it's like, romance, dark romance, oh, fantasy. Because I think I'm more of the person who I like reading things that are fiction and not
Hmm.
real, or things that would never occur in real life, or something that
Ah,
like I'm not interested in.
the escapism is real.
Yeah, it's wild. And I like it though. And
Hmm.
I'm not saying that I won't read a nonfic. Like, for example, I'm reading the memoir for book club and I am reading it. So be proud here.
We're very proud.
But yeah, I just love the fact that we're not going to both be just talking about romances. Like, we're going to be able
Hmm.
to talk about literally anything and everything. So that's exciting.
It is pretty cool, and I think I I don't know what I think. I just love books. I just love books.
Yeah,
Alessia, I love books.
I know, Ree. I do too. I do too. But like, I know, I don't even know how to add to that. Like, books are just such a important thing, and I don't think people recognize that anymore. And like you had said before, like I would rather pick up a book than scroll on Instagram or on Facebook and
Hmm.
the god awful TikTok. But honest to God, like I feel like even where we're kind of moving in life and in this direction of things
Yeah.
happening, I think it's important to kind of transition back to reading and read things that you wouldn't necessarily read. But I'm also a firm believer that we don't need so many copies of certain books. And I really find the idea of rehoming and reloving and reusing books to be valuable and important because there are thousands of copies of Onyx Storm or Room Hate or any of
Mm.
those super
Yep.
popular books that we all read once. And then what happens, right? Then you end up having those brand new copies of books in stores, which is beneficial to other people. And that's why I just kind of want to say, like, it is so important that we reuse and we find and we kind of keep books going rather than always buying new or using Amazon for everything. And I'm also a firm believer that support local, read Canadian literature,
Yes.
read anything written by Canadian authors. I'm not saying don't read anything American. Like, there are some phenomenal authors that are American. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm a very firm believer that we gotta rehome books. And fun fact, this weekend, I
Hmm.
put up a book house outside my house. I
She
know.
did, and it's so cute. A little library.
I know. It honestly brings so much joy. Like it is actually wild. I would argue that it's not a book house, it's a book hotel. Um,
Oh.
my uncle actually made it. He is a contractor
Yep.
and he took materials from the garage and
Hmm.
like built this thing. And when I say it weighs a ton, I'm not even joking. Like there is no way I could pick it up. And my partner had two of his friends actually come and like help them like put it up. But the inside actually has hardwood and like three shelves And at one point, my uncle was like, oh, like, do you want me to put carpet on the bottom? Like, what do you need? And I was like, no, like, please don't put carpet inside a book house. That's weird. Like, my books don't need carpet. But he even had like old cabinet doors that he like cut the middle out so he could put windows in there, and they're like frosted windows, and oh my gosh, it's absolutely beautiful. And again, my partner brought home this like 6-foot pole, and
Yep.
we had to dig 3.5 feet down. We put this pole in, and he just walks over with this massive bag of cement,
Yep.
and it's like the rapid dry or whatever. He pours it into this hole, just dumps a massive bucket of water and starts filling it up with dirt. And I was like, dude, like, what are you doing? And the response I got was, well, at least now if somebody thinks they want to drive up onto the curb or hit it down, it's going to do more damage to them than it will to the book house. And if you're going to make me have a bad day, I'll make you have a bad day.
Oh my gosh.
So
Can you imagine telling your insurance, like your car insurance agent, what happened? Like,
I
oh, I'm
hit
sorry.
a book house.
I hit a book house. Okay.
Like,
how's the book house?
well, and then
It's fine.
I said to him, what if we move? Like, I'm not leaving my book house here. He's like, oh, it's fine. We'll like unscrew the book house and we'll take it with us. And I was like, well, what about the pole? He's like, oh, that's not moving. So whoever buys my house in the near future, you will just have a 6-foot pole in your ground, cemented in. Good luck.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, but I eventually will post a picture of my book house, and
Yes.
I'll tell everybody to go and check it out, but it's not ready yet. I have to fix a few things, and I'm also going to have to put books in it.
Yes.
And I have to figure out how
Ooh.
to re-register it with Free Little Library, because I already have the sign, but it's just not letting me log in yet. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's exciting. So,
That's so exciting.
I have
I'll
a
give
book
you
house,
some books
guys.
for that.
Oh, perfect. I'm
Yeah.
also probably going to wrap some up and throw some blind dates in there and be like,
So
take a
smart.
blind date and leave some books, because if you know me, I love wrapping books and rehoming books, and I actually own Not Your Average Book Club. So it's weird to say own. I created it, and now it's actually become a little bit of a small business, and it's a
Yeah.
registered business. So the whole purpose of the business is repurposing books and building a book community, and we have all of these virtual book clubs and all of those things, and it's super fun. And I love that we're doing this podcast because it's not associated necessarily with my business, but I still get to talk about books with somebody, and I get to share it with other people, and
Yes.
I love that. I just absolutely love talking about books,
Mhm.
and I'm all for discussing books, even if they're like unhinged. And if you really want to talk about a slasher romance, I will talk about a slasher romance. But yeah, sorry for the rant there. I mean,
I love that.
I don't know. Books are life. So
Books are amazing. Okay.
cool.
To be read books.
Okay, am
Our
I going
TBRs
first?
piles.
Am I going
Yeah,
first, or are you
tell
going
me what's on your
first?
TBR.
Okay, I got them. Well, I brought some of them. So, number 1. First of all, look at the sprayed edges on this bad boy.
Hold that up to the camera. That's gorgeous.
Like, it's beautiful, as I'm just like advertising. But this is Room Hate by Penelope Ward. I've actually read this book already, but
Ooh.
it's one of those books that I actually really, really enjoyed,
Mhm.
that I'm going to actually read it again.
Yeah.
So it actually kind of comes in 3 parts, and it's one of those romances that it's like right place, wrong time.
Okay.
And it happens for the male character, and then it also happens for the female character, and
Mhm.
eventually, things work out. But it's just such a cute little story, and I'm really excited to read it again, actually.
And it's such a cute little book.
Yeah, and this is the newer book cover that got released. The
Yeah.
first one has a man laying there with like no shirt on, and I'm not gonna lie, I hate people on covers. It's my biggest pet peeve.
Mhm.
So I actually read it on my Kindle for that reason.
Wow.
And then now
those are some strong opinions.
yeah, and now they released this one, and I was like, oh yeah, like it has like graphic, but
Yeah.
like
This
not
is
an
pretty.
actual human. Okay, and then I'm also wanting to read Wolf by Paisley Hope. Technically, one of my book clubs did read it. I just didn't read it that month because I didn't have time to read it that month. So this one is now one that I'm going to read. And then because I loved Colty,
Yep.
I am going to read The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by the same author.
Ooh.
I did actually bring Rihanna a copy of this, and I
She
told her she
did.
has to read it as well. because classic Alessia went into the basement to find a book and she found this book. I'm like, like, do I have it already? I was like, no, I don't have it. And I go upstairs, and the other day, well, I lied, yesterday, I was just putting a book away, and I was like, is that the whole of Winnipeg and me? And so that's how I realized I have 2 copies of it. So Rihanna gets a copy of the
Okay.
book.
Actually, Gary, it's on the chair right there. Can you toss it at me? Because these two have different covers.
Yeah.
So let's see. Can I make? Yeah.
Well, and it's
make the
like-
catch. So we have this blue cover with a cute little couple.
And then we have this one where it's like kind of more focused on the female character. Oh, and then the
Yeah.
male character's on the back.
Ooh,
But-
with a football.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
find like this one's heavy though. Like
Yeah.
that one's heavier compared
wow.
to this.
Yeah.
Like this is like a normal paperback.
Yeah, this has
But
got
like
some weight
I don't
to
know
it.
what like it's a heavy book. Like
It
what
is.
makes this book so heavy? Like
okay, so the
are they thick pages or
something like that.
I don't know, but that's wild.
But yeah, so we're
Um,
both gonna be reading that.
Yeah, and then okay, so of course I have to pull it up on my phone because I don't have it. But okay, maybe you tell us about your TBR and then come back to me for my last 2.
Okay. So shockingly, I like to have a little bit of everything in my TBR. Yeah, starting right with the top. I'm one of those people that loves to read professional personal development books,
Yeah.
like consistently. So How to Be the Love You Seek, Dr. Nicole LaPera. I did read her first one, How to Do the Work, and I really enjoyed it. Not too long. It's going to have some cute little kind of like journal activities through it, which is always really nice. Easy summer book, One Golden Summer, Carly Fortune, Canadian author.
I was going to say she is Canadian.
She is Canadian. This is her newer book. We love Emily Henry, so Great Big Beautiful Life. Just another nice, easy read.
Oh my gosh, watch out, your pile's going to fall over.
Hang on. We're good. It's just
Too many
getting bigger. Excuse me? Too many
there's
books?
never too many books.
Thank you. And then Goodreads does this thing where they give you like achievements and they're literally participation ribbons, but I really want to get more of them. So Women of Good Fortune, I found on my bookshelf. It'll give me another participation ribbon for reading
like,
it.
Isn't that like, it's like the best form of reinforcement? Because like,
Yes.
it's the same as my bookmarks. I needed it.
Yes.
I want it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Even if that one was cheating. I'm not cheating for this though.
Exactly.
I actually want to read the books.
Yeah,
this
no, I
time.
want to read the books and I have to read the books.
Exactly.
And then the other one, I'll Never Call Him Dad Again, Turning Our Family Trauma of Chemical Submission into a Collective Fight. So I believe this was the Woman of the Year. It's it's about Giselle Pellicott. So what had happened? Oh, we're going real deep in episode 1, but you know what? We're here for it. So in France, a lady found a file on her husband's computer, and I might have the basis of this story wrong, where he had been giving her different drugs at supper time.
Oh my God.
And then calling men over to abuse her. And he took videos and photos, was found out over 50 men ended up getting charged and have to serve time for this. But
Oh my God.
she didn't hide her identity. She said, no, I need to put my identity out there so I can be the face of this because I deserve justice. So her daughter wrote this book about her and the family's fight against this type of abuse.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that's like kind of heavy, but at the same time, I think it's going to be an important one to read and to get through. And just because this lady did the unthinkable, like she could have just kept her anonymity and had it go through the trials and system, but she chose to put her name out there and to become not necessarily the face of it, but
Yeah.
to put herself out there very quickly.
But you know
with
what? I
it.
also feel like that's probably a form of healing too, because
Yes.
I feel like sharing your story, it does really help you kind of work through things. And
Mhm.
that's something too that like I've had a lot of times where I share my story and I tell people it and it helps me because
Yes.
it's not that I don't want people to know these things. They're just heavy. And sometimes like I don't want to trauma dump on anyone, but
Mhm.
it helps sometimes just to have somebody listen and be
Yes.
like, you know what? Yeah, that really sucked. And like, I'm sorry you had to go through that. And no, I don't want pity or anything like that. But sometimes it's just nice for you to kind of have that, not reinforcement, but somebody understands and somebody says,
To
like,
validate you.
there you go,
You know,
validating your feelings,
yes.
right? But yeah, I think it's important. And I do think that that's probably like a really good way of healing. And I might
Yes.
actually have to read that because
Oh,
now
yeah.
I feel like I'm not, intrigued is not the right word, but I am feeling very, very much like I want to read this book. I want to know this story and I want to see like what happened and kind of what these people who are serving time, like,
Yep.
I want to know all about this. This is an interesting story.
Okay, well, when I'm done, I'll definitely have to share it with you.
Okay, I finally have my last two.
Okay, what are your last
So
TBRs?
my last one, or my last two, Not Safe by Work, or Not Safe for Work by Nisha Tooley.
Yep.
I've actually met Nisha. She's a
Ooh.
lovely human. And I asked her if she would be on our podcast at some point, and she may have agreed. So very, very exciting. The book actually isn't out yet. It comes out tomorrow on the 21st. And I'm super excited to read it. I mean, the last book series she wrote was very much like romantasy fantasy. So if you haven't read anything by her, please check her out. She's a great author. I really, really enjoy reading her books. So I am really excited for the new book to come out.
Amazing.
And then the last book that I'm reading actually it's called Submit by Sonnet. And
Submit.
it's actually more of a memoir, which I find very interesting as I'm like gonna pull it back up so I can actually tell you more about it. But it is a little bit of like not a controversial kind of book or topic, but she is a writer. She's a professional with a wide network of important people. And essentially, it's kind of what she is kind of on the outside. Oh, I keep hitting this. Like who she is and like who she portrays herself, that professional woman.
Yep.
And then kind of that inside of like, okay, at home, this is how I am, or like in my relationship, this is how I am. And it's essentially like a stunning, well, I'm reading this off of here. I haven't read it, so I can't say it from my opinion. But it says that it is a vivid, electric, stunning account of how one woman gets her kicks. It's all true, and it's an experience that can't be missed. All we ask is that you submit. So it might be spicy, but at the same time, I feel like it's an interesting way to look at things, right? Where it's like a person on the outside can be this strong, dominant, like person in a very big professional way. And yeah, I just think it's cool. And maybe that makes me sound like I'm kinky. I don't know, but
That's okay.
I
Hey,
just
no
think,
judgment here.
yeah, I just think that it's a cool memoir. Like I find it intriguing.
Ooh, I like that.
So we'll just trade books.
We're just gonna trade books. That's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's wild. And yeah.
Okay.
So now let's kind of introduce what we're gonna do.
Okay, so Not That Kind of Book Club is actually a bit of a book club. So book number 1 that we are going to be reading,
Oh, we gotta grab it.
we would love for you to join in on us, is Just for the Summer, Abby Jimenez.
I know a lot of you have probably read it already because it was released probably like a little bit ago, wasn't it? Isn't
Yeah,
it a
within this
newer
last
release?
spring.
And I felt that this is actually probably a good book going into the summer to read. And if anybody is curious, we will talk about the book because, like we said, we read it, so you don't have to.
Yes.
Even if you've already read it, that's okay too. But the plan is to kind of talk about it next time and dive into the characters and what we loved and what we hated. And I don't want to try to spoil it too much for people, but I think that this will be a fun way to kind of talk about books in a different way. And who knows, we might have an author coming soon. So
You never
make
know.
sure you stay tuned because there are lots of fun, intriguing, and what's another word to describe this?
Exciting
Things coming.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, honest to God, this was wicked. I'm so excited to kind of start this journey, and we're going to talk everything books. We're going to have fun people coming on. We have different topics and different things we're going to talk about, that everything's not just kind of the same thing. But all in all, we're going to be reading books and telling you about books, and we're going to go from there.
We're just loving on the books.
Yeah, we're book people.
We are book people.
No, I like it. We're bookworms.
We are bookworms. And guess what? You are too if you're part of this club. It is the Not That Kind of Book Club podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Ree.
I'm Les.
And we loved having you here with us. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, thank you so much to producer Adam and producer Gary for having us in studio. We will see you guys next time.
See you later.